Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Fiction Network. Kaido's East China Sea interception. At the beginning, Lufei's people are numb. Start by crossing the land of peace. In order to obtain a demonic fruit, I plan to call myself a prophet and tell Kaido future intelligence. Kedo. What are you saying? I will be defeated by an unknown little ghost in 2 years. Kedo hesitated and eventually headed to the East China Sea. On the other hand, not long after defeating Long, Lufei, who had just received a bounty of 30 million Bailey, looked at Kaido, who had a bounty of 4,611 million Bailey, and felt numb. Al obtains the devil fruit, activates the universal realm system, and extracts universal realm abilities. Obtain the 6 immortal powers in Naruto World and the breaking power in Death World. Fairy's Tail World, Fire Dragon Destruction Magic, Black Dragon Form, and so on. Top of the war, extract Xiaowu's ability, transform into Black Winged Demon, and kill all directions. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Prophet, Knowing the Past and the Future. You are listening at novelfull.audio. New World, Land of Peace, near Ghost Island. At this moment, Al was walking on a small path, preparing to head to Ghost Island. Suddenly, a sound came from mid-air. Stop, what do you want to do when you get close to Ghost Island? Upon hearing the sound, Al raised his head slightly. I saw a man flying high in the sky, completely pitch black, wearing a black uniform, with flames burning behind him, falling towards Al. He is not someone else, he is one of the 3 disasters of the Beast Pirates, Flame Disaster Ashes. He is the earliest member of the Beast Pirates, and he first met Kaido, even dating back decades. His strength is strong. In the entire Beast Pirate squad, it can be said that he is only below Kaido. I want to see Governor Kaido. Al truthfully reports. Want to see Governor Kaido? Are you joking with me? Jean crossed her hands and hugged her chest, staring coldly at Al. Who is Kaido? He is one of the 4 emperors of the world today. In the whole new world, no, the whole world is a famous pirate. And Al, he had never seen him, let alone heard of his name. In his view, Al was just an ordinary man who couldn't be more ordinary. What qualifications does such a person have to meet Kaido? Of course not. I have important news to report to Governor Kaido, and I believe he will also be very interested. What news? I am a prophet, knowing the past and future. Al is not a native of this world. But it's traveling from a distant blue star to this world. The man he traveled through was named Al. At the same time, they are also ordinary residents of the country of peace. What sets it apart from other travelers who come with their own systems directly? Although Al has a system, he needs to sacrifice an animal-type demon fruit in order to unlock it. Elban plans to join the Beast Pirates. In this way, as a member, he may also receive an artificial demon fruit. But what I didn't expect was that his strength was too weak to qualify for joining the Beast Pirates. Al has also tried to activate the system by using some defective artificial demon fruits. But the system prompts that the purity is not enough to activate. Since it is impossible to activate with the help of defective artificial demon fruits and also impossible to join. So the only option is to steal those superior artificial demon fruits. For this reason, Al began to work for the members of the Beast Pirates. Finally, I had a chance to come into contact with the artificial demon fruit. But unexpectedly, the artificial demon fruit successfully stole one. However, the system still doesn't accept it. To unlock the system, you must have a pure animal-type demon fruit. The fruit of artificial demons cannot be sacrificed. Meanwhile, he was discovered by someone for stealing the artificial demon fruit. Due to his familiarity with the terrain of the country of peace, he abandoned his pursuers. But he knew that the news of him stealing the artificial demon fruit would soon spread throughout the entire Beast Pirate squad. It is completely impossible for him to escape from this group of people with his own weak strength. So, he must find a way to find a support or something. He doesn't want to be killed before unlocking the system. In order to seek a way of survival. He plans to act as a traveler, pretending to be a prophet and telling the beasts more about things that he only knew from God's perspective, in order to gain the trust of Kaido. To make Kaido his support. Of course, it would be perfect if one could receive an animal-type demon fruit as a reward for unlocking the system. Prophet, do you know the past and future? Are you playing with me? Just come up with an ordinary person and say such things. No one can believe it, right? Al didn't explain anything, but started telling the story of Jin's past. If I remember correctly, you are from the Lunalia clan. The Lunalia tribe is a rare species that is said to live on the Red Earth continent. This race is naturally capable of generating flames on its body and can survive in any extremely harsh environment. It is a true god clan. You guy. Upon hearing these words, Jin frowned slightly and stared at Al with some surprise. The news that he belongs to the Lunalia clan is unknown to the entire Beast Pirate squad. How could this unmasked and exceptionally ordinary Al in front of him know his secret? At the same time, I also know that you and Kaido have a close relationship. Decades ago, you were caught by the Navy's research unit because of your identity as a member of the Lunalia clan. They conducted various experiments on you, and in the end, the same subject being studied, Kaido, appeared and saved you, Al continued. How could that be? Who told you these messages? Upon hearing this, Jin was shocked and stared at Ayerzi with an incredulous expression on his face. He was once the subject of the experiment. Except for Kaido, all the other people who were originally involved in scientific research were killed by them. And how would Al know about this? No, wait a minute, you guys. Are you from the Navy? Back then, before we killed them all, Kedo and I heard a guy reporting the news to the Navy headquarters. Jin suddenly thought of something, his face turned cold, and he said in a deep voice. Although the experimenters who participated in scientific research at that time have all been killed by him and Kaido. But because they didn't kill everyone immediately. So this news has been reported to the Navy headquarters. Nowadays, only he, Kaido, and the Navy know that he belongs to the Lunaria tribe. Kaiduo, naturally won't be idle and talk about this kind of thing. Not to mention, the target is just an unknown little figure like Al. So, at this moment, Jin has turned Al into an undercover agent for the Navy. As soon as she thought of this, a strong killing intent bloomed on Jin's body. I want to use a sense of oppression to force Al to tell the truth. Of course not, if you think about it carefully, if I were in the Navy, with my strength, I would have the right to hear about your identity as a member of the Lunaria tribe and know about your past with Kaido. Al spread out his hand. Whether it's the ashes of the Lunaria tribe or the Kaido, who is studied as a monster. The experiments they conducted were both the top secret of the Navy headquarters. Unless it is at the level of a naval general, it is impossible to have heard of such a thing. And how could he, a small character, know about these past experiences? Upon hearing these words, Jin restrained his killing intent and fell into contemplation, but still did not confirm Al's words. If you think there is a possibility that your past with Kaido will be known by the Navy. So, should I repeat the conversation you two had when we first met? Are you from the Lunaria tribe? No wonder the government won't let you go. This is the first sentence that Kaido said when he first met Jin. Upon hearing these words, Jin was slightly stunned, and memories began to appear in his mind before his eyes. I have seen the durability experiments they conducted on you, and I plan to leave here and create a new pirate group. Little White Mouse, what do you plan to do? Kedo, carrying a wolf's tooth stick on his shoulder, stared at Jin and asked. After a moment of silence, Jin asked, can you change the world? Of course, the only one who can change the world is lousy. Kaiduo laughed. Jin fell silent again. Kado continued to ask, "What's your name?" "Abel." "You are very strong, you can call yourself king and stay in my shadow. I will not hand you over to anyone. From today on, you will be my right hand." Al, word by word, helped Jin recall the conversation he had when he first met Kaido. P.S. Seeking flowers, evaluating tickets. Chapter 2. The Conviction of Jin. You are listening at novel full.audio. Trapped in the ashes of memories, slowly open your eyes. In my mind, at this moment, I was still hovering around Kaido's sentence, "The only one who can change the world is lousy." It was precisely because of this sentence that Jin had the idea of following Kaido. And firmly believe that Kaido is Joey Boy, the man who can change the world. Jin took a deep breath and then gave Al a serious look. "Interesting guy, it seems that you do have extraordinary abilities." Jin was very confident that when the two were talking, they were surrounded by dead people. So these words, no one knows. And even if someone hears about it, that's not enough to simply copy these words word for word and report them all to the Navy. At this moment, Jin slightly believed what Al had just said. Anyway, this pirate world is also full of fantasy. The emergence of some special talents is also within the acceptable range. So, now you can believe that I am a prophet, knowing both the past and the future. After explaining for a while, you should trust me now. No, I'm not entirely sure yet. We need to do the final step of authentication. Jin shook his head slightly, then took out the Feilu Fiction handcuffs from his body, without any hesitation, and directly handcuffed Al's wrist. Huh. Al looked at Jin's operation with a puzzled expression on his face. What is the situation? What does it mean to handcuff me with your backhand as I have been self-proclaimed as a prophet for half a day? Jin stared at Al, whose wrist was handcuffed, and found that he did not show any signs of weakness. He then took out the key and helped Al unlock the Sea Tower stone handcuffs while speaking. I believe you now. Next, I will take you to see Kaido. The reason why Jin handcuffed Shanghai Lu Shi on Al's wrist. That's because he guessed that Al might be some kind of person with the ability to see through a person's past. However, as he handcuffed Al's wrist, everything came to light. If Al is a capable person, then he will definitely fall into a weak state due to the handcuffs of Feilu Fiction. But Al did not, which indicates that Al is not a capable person. Since he is not a capable person, he possesses the ability to know his past experiences. He now believes to a great extent that what Al said is true. Okay. Al loosened his wrist and didn't say much before nodding. Jin then prepared the toothless pterosaur form and took Al directly to the ghost island above to meet Kaido. At this moment, a sound of footsteps came from afar, accompanied by a group of people shouting loudly. There he is. Yes, it's that kid who stole the artificial demon fruit from our beast pirates team. Hurry up, catch him. We can't let this kid escape. If you dare to steal things from our beast pirate squad, waiting for him will be hell. Wait, the one standing next to that kid. Seems to be Lord Jin. Lord Jin, standing next to you is the thief who just wanted to steal the artificial demon fruit. Hurry up and catch him. I saw a large group of members of the beast pirates in the distance, wielding weapons and constantly approaching towards this side. The leader is undoubtedly Peggy Wan, who is one of the 6 flying cells. Unexpectedly, in order to catch me, the thief who stole artificial demon fruits, all 6 members of the Flying Six participated, Al muttered in surprise. At first it was discovered that he had stolen the artificial demon fruit, and the pursuers were only ordinary members of the beast pirates. So, he was able to use the terrain to successfully escape. If Pegwan had discovered him at the beginning, then he might have been arrested long ago. At this moment, Peggy took a step forward and respectfully spoke towards Jin. Mr. Jin, this bastard just wanted to steal something from our beast pirate squad. Please let us take it back and torture him severely. After hearing this, Jin also glanced at Al beside him and asked, "Did you steal the artificial demon fruit of our beast pirates?" "Indeed, he was right, I did steal it," Al admitted generously. As the words fell, many members of the beast pirate squad immediately glared angrily and cursed. "You're really arrogant enough to admit it so generously, kid. But even if you admit it so bluntly, what awaits you will be even more terrifying torture than death. Dare to steal from our beast pirates team, we will make you regret making this choice. You kid, come with us quickly." As the words fell, a member of the beast pirates was about to step forward and pull Al away. Pop. Jin grabbed the pirate's wrist and said coldly, "What do you want to do, you guy?" Nowadays, Jin still almost completely believes in the identity of the prophet Al. Knowing the past and understanding the future. Although Al's strength is not strong, but based solely on what he knows, it will bring countless wealth to the beast pirates. It's even possible for Kaido to fulfill his dream. Such a highly valuable man, even to the extent of preciousness, is no less than a great general. Although he knew that Al had indeed stolen the artificial demon fruit from the beast pirates. But so what? Such a man must live a good life and go see Kedo. The pirate was grabbed by Jin by his wrist, sweating profusely. He looked up slightly and said in a trembling tone, "Jin. Lord Jin, I want to take him away and torture him severely." Severe torture. Upon hearing these words, Jin's face instantly darkened. "Fortunately, I met Al earlier, otherwise if I had let these guys catch Al in advance." So, their beast pirate squad is equivalent to losing an extremely important figure. Thinking of this, a strong killing intent bloomed in Jin's eyes. Shwa. I saw a cold light burst out, and the pirate's arm was cut off by the ashes. Ah! The pirate, who had lost his arm, suffered severe pain all over his body and lay on the ground shouting loudly. Upon seeing this scene, Peggy Wan, along with other members of the beast pirate squad, were stunned. No one could have imagined that Al had already admitted to stealing the artificial demon fruit. But Jin chose to protect Al. They can't imagine. Why did Al, whose strength was so small that it was almost negligible, receive such treatment from Jin? Jin. Mr. Jin. Peggy wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva, making a sound. This guy is a noble member of our beast pirate squad. From now on, if I see anyone who dares to disrespect him, it will be an enemy of our beast pirate squad. Jin slowly inserted the blade back into the scabbard, and then coldly scanned the many pirates present, warning. Al's strength is still weak, and Jin is really afraid that someone might accidentally kill him. So this news was directly announced. Did you hear me clearly? Listen clearly. Peijivan and others nodded and said, like little chickens chattering rice. Although he is a flying 6 cell, in terms of status, he should be second only to the 3 major billboards. But Pegwan is actually the weakest among the 6 flying cells. And Jin is the strongest among the 3 disasters. The strength and status of the 2 should be said to be vastly different. P.S. Seeking Flowers, Evaluation Tickets. Chapter 3. Kaido. I will be defeated by Luffy in the future. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hearing a satisfactory answer, Jin entered the form of Toothless Pterosaur, then grabbed Al and flew to Ghost Island in mid-air. Only Peggy Wan and many members of the beast pirates remained, looking bewildered. Why is Lord Jin protecting a thief who stole the fruit of an artificial demon? How dare you say he's a thief? It's clearly Lord Al. Yes, you're right. It's clearly Lord Al. What kind of thief is that? We got the wrong person and mistook Lord Al for a thief. It's all our fault. Yeah, I really deserve to die for it. I misunderstood Lord Al. Many members of the beast pirate squad, although unsure of what exactly happened. Let Jin be so protective of Al. But through the words of Jin, they can also hear it. Al is exceptionally important to Jin. Even if he steals something from their beast pirates, he can still turn a blind eye. Jin doesn't even know, how dare they continue to mention that Al is a thief. At this moment, they couldn't help feeling a little scared and had just said a lot of disrespectful words to Al. Fortunately, they did not directly take action against Al. Otherwise they silently glanced at the pirate whose arm had been cut off by Jin, and their scalp immediately tingled. Meanwhile, on the other side. Ghost Island. With the flight of the toothless pterosaur, Jin successfully brought Al to Ghost Island. Let's go and meet Kaido. Jin walked ahead, leading the way for Al. So, Mr. Jin, is this not intended to hold me accountable for stealing the artificial demon fruit? Al, who was following behind the ashes, asked a question. Guess it, you stole the artificial demon fruit because of your weak strength, Jin replied calmly without looking back and walked forward. Well, that's true, Al replied without a negative response. He thought the superior artificial demon fruit could awaken his system. If he really awakened the system, he didn't think he would be caught by the members of the beast pirates. Unfortunately, there was no awakening. Fortunately, we have now encountered Jin and had a chance to survive. However, since you have already stolen the artificial demon fruit, why not take it? Jin suddenly asked. After careful consideration, the artificial demon fruit may not have greatly increased my strength, so I gave up, Al said with an excuse. Upon hearing this, Jin remained silent for a few seconds, then stopped and turned around, staring seriously at Al Dao. If your identity as a prophet can provide effective information for Kaido, we will reward you with a good demon fruit. Thank you very much then. Al now urgently needs an animal demon fruit to help awaken his system. If Kaido could really give him one, he would naturally be grateful. Upon hearing this, Jin remained silent and continued to lead Al towards the center of Ghost Island. After a moment, Jin stopped in his tracks. It's here. Upon hearing the sound of ashes, Al looked up slightly and saw a huge hole in front of him. In the depths of the cave entrance, one could vaguely see a man with a huge body, open chest and belly, rich long hair, and a chilling aura emanating from all over. He is none other than one of the strongest men in the world today, Kedo the Beast. He is known as the strongest creature in the world. Having extremely tenacious vitality, defensive power, and terrifying power that can shock the world. Kado drank the fine wine from the gourd in a gulp and threw it to the ground, cursing. Damn it, this wine is really a defective product, it has no taste at all. At the same time, Kaido inside the cave also noticed the ashes outside the door and Al. Hey Jin, what can I do for you? Speaking of which, who is the little guy standing next to you? Jin walked slowly into the cave and said as he walked, this guy calls himself a prophet and knows the past and future. Cluck cluck. Jin, do you also like to joke? Kaiduo burst into laughter upon hearing this. No, I'm not joking, this guy. Maybe it's true. Jin said solemnly. Upon hearing these words, the smile on Kaido's face disappeared, and instead he carefully scrutinized Al. Jin has been following him for decades, so he can be said to have an exceptional understanding of Jin. He is well aware that Jin doesn't like to joke. Now, being able to make Jin speak these words so seriously. Although he didn't believe in Al's supposed prophetic identity, he developed a hint of curiosity. Do you say you know the past and future? After a long silence, Kedo finally spoke up and asked. Yes. So, in the future, have I realized my dream of using the whole world as a battlefield and pulling down all the Tianlong people? Although Kaido looks rough, cruel, and fierce. But in fact, Kedo's dream is to create a country where everyone is equal. He formed his power and developed his strength with the aim of one day having sufficient strength to initiate an unprecedented war. Pull all the nobles of the world off their horses. No, Al shook his head slightly and said. 2 years later, Teacher Kai was defeated by the 5th gear Luffy. What can we talk about achieving our dreams? What are you talking about, this guy? Upon hearing these words, Jin's face darkened and he said with a heavy tone. Jin firmly believes that Kaido is Joey Boy, a person who can change the world. But at this moment, Al said that Kedo couldn't fulfill his dream. That is equivalent to denying that Kedo is Joey Boy and denying that he is the one who changes his dreams. This made Jin unable to accept it for a while. Cluck. Interesting guy, did you just deny it? Well, when you said you wanted to ask about the future, I must have responded to you with the real situation. Al spread out his hand. He never thought about lying and pleasing Kedo on this issue. After all, if he really lied, Kedo asked him how he did it. What is the future world like, and how should he answer it? To tell a lie, one needs to cover it up with countless lies, and there will always be times when the truth is revealed. So Al doesn't intend to lie. Kaiduo continued to ask with great interest, so, who is stopping me from achieving my dreams in the future? Straw Hat Kid, Luffy. Luffy. Upon hearing this name, Jin and Kaiduo were both stunned. Kaiduo's face darkened, and a terrifying aura enveloped Al's body from top to bottom. He questioned, are you sure you're not lying to me? P.S. Seeking flowers, evaluation tickets. Chapter 4. Jin's Proposal. Advance Robbery and Killing of Lufei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kaido originally thought that it would be the other 4 emperors, navy, or world governments who would stop him. But now, Al tells him that Luffy is blocking him. Who is Luffy? Kaido has never heard of it at all. At the same time, he doesn't think so. A little-known little ghost now can prevent him from realizing his dreams in the future. So he immediately believed that Al was lying. Of course, not to deceive you, Luffy really doesn't have much reputation now, but in 2 years, he will arrive in the land of harmony and defeat you, Al said without concealing the truth. After hearing this, Kaiduo turned his gaze to Jin and asked, Jin, you are such a little ghost that you have never found before. You are full of lies, and such a guy has been mistaken by you for someone who knows the past and knows the future. He didn't believe that Luffy, who had never even heard of his name, could prevent him from realizing his dreams in the future. Now, instead, they tell him that in 2 years, he will be defeated by Luffy. Isn't this a joke? You should know that he has been with the Rocks Regiment since decades ago. He is regarded as a monster in turn with unparalleled talent and terrifying abilities. But it took him several decades to develop into what he is now. Holding countless territories in the New World and possessing supreme status, the 4 emperors are like emperors in the New World. He has no faith at all. A little ghost's talent will be so powerful that it only takes 2 years to pull him off the throne as the 4th emperor. This. Upon hearing Kaido's questioning, Jin was momentarily hesitant and didn't know how to answer. After all, Al can know about his past. And clearly stated his first meeting with Kaido at that time. This made him most likely convinced of the fact that Al was a prophet. But now, Al has said such outrageous things again. This made him unsure how to justify Al's words. Without hearing a satisfactory answer from Jin, Kaido once again turned his gaze to Al, but at this moment, his eyes were filled with killing intent. He cannot tolerate a scammer appearing on his territory. And planned to deceive him. Al glanced at the atmosphere at the scene, feeling quite helpless. It's special, wasn't it you who asked? I have truthfully told you what you asked. Of course, he definitely cannot say these words. Now he needs to find a way to make Kaido believe what he says. Decades ago, you, who joined the Rocks team, were given to you by Charlotte Lingling, the phantom fish fruit. This news was told to you by that crazy woman Lingling. Isn't it possible that you are a member of the Bigmom Pirates group? You have a son. To be more precise, he is a daughter named Yamato. He worships Kobayashi Oda and also calls himself Kobayashi Oda. He wants to go out to sea, but you put handcuffs on him that will explode when he leaves the island. The demon fruit he eats is canine fruit, a type of mythical beast. Interestingly, do you actually know these news? Upon hearing what Al had said, Kedo also restrained his murderous aura and said with great interest. The news that Yamato is a woman is currently unknown to the entire Beast Pirates group. At the same time, he also spread the news and refused to tell the world. As for the news of claiming to be Mitsuki Oda, even fewer people know about it. And the fruit she eats is dog fruit, according to the news of the Phantom series. Not to mention, the entire Beast Pirate squad knows very little. And Al, as an ordinary resident of the Land of Peace, knowing these news surprised Kaido a bit. At the same time, it also made him pay more attention to the identity of Al Prophet. Her age is 28 years old, blood type is F, and her height is 263 centimeters, slightly lower than me. Her birthday is November 3rd, Al continued. Cluck. Do you know so much detail? To be honest, even Kaido himself doesn't know what blood type and height his daughter Yamato has. But Al, knowing such news, really surprised him. So, can you believe me now? Although what you said is very detailed, it's not enough, Kedo continued with a hint of doubt. Upon hearing these words, Al felt numb. Is it not enough to say so much in detail? You were born in the kingdom of vodka and were the strongest warrior in the country at the age of 10. However, at the age of 11, you were betrayed by the king, who prepared to use you for naval experiments. In the end, you escaped and offered a reward of 70 million belly at the age of 15. You were noticed by Locks on Beehive Island, and he invited you to join the Locks order. No one should know about this past, Kaido. Al carefully considered Kedo's past and continued speaking. Cluck. I blamed you wrong, Jin. You really brought back a guy who surprised me. Upon hearing these words, Kedo suddenly stood up and grinned. The kingdom of vodka was destroyed in the old times, and it is almost impossible for anyone to remember it today. Moreover, whether it's the age mentioned by Al or the bounty offered later on, it's like experiencing it firsthand, no different from his true past. Now, he is certain that Al in front of him truly knows the past and future. Nowadays, not only do we have a powerful army, but we also have this Al who knows the future. We will eventually fulfill our dreams, Kado. I firmly believe that you are Joey Boy, the person who can change the world. Upon hearing Kaido's words, Jin also smiled. Although in their original world, they may not have realized this dream. But now, with Al as the prophet, they can eliminate any potential dangers they may encounter in the future in advance. This world ultimately belongs to the stage of the Beast Pirates. Kedo descended from the throne and walked slowly to Al, questioning with a serious expression on his face. But speaking of which, you just said that I was defeated by a little ghost named Luffy 2 years later, is that true? It's true. I came here to make you believe what I said is true. There's no need to lie, right? Upon hearing these words, Kedo's face became solemn and lost in thought. Although for an unknown little ghost, it's hard to believe the news of beheading him in just 2 years. However, he also believes that Al doesn't need to lie. In this silent atmosphere, Jin suddenly spoke up. Since in the future, if you are defeated by that guy named Lufei, whether this future is true or not, why not kill him before he reaches that level? P.S. Seeking fresh flowers. Chapter 5. Kaiduo set sail, accompanied by Al. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kaido, who had been silent for a long time, slowly spoke up and said, "You're right, Jin. He doesn't think that Luffy really has the strength to defeat him. However, as Jin said, regardless of whether Al's future is true or not, in order to solve the worries, let's first solve Luffy, and all the troubles will be solved without breaking through." Where is Luffy now? Kedo set his gaze on Al and questioned. Al lowered his head for a moment of contemplation before responding, at the moment. It should be on the Great Voyage. If we infer based on the current timeline, Luffy should have not set sail for long, so it should be on the Great Route. As for not being in L, it cannot be guaranteed, and it may not have reached the Great Route yet, in the East China Sea. Is it a Great Route? Kaiduo, I won't bother you with handling Luffy's matter. I will send Jack over to solve it. How strong can a pirate wandering in the first half of a great voyage be? Presumably, the bounty did not even exceed 100 million Bailey. These simple characters can be easily solved by dispatching the 3 disasters Jack. Upon hearing Jin's words, Al also smiled inwardly. You underestimate the identity of Luffy, the son of fate. Sending Jack is equivalent to sending experience packs, isn't it? Although it is highly likely that Jack's current strength is far superior to Luffy's. But Luffy is a famous hanging king. No one knows if he will fall into a fierce battle and then directly awaken to 5th gear, entering Nika form ahead of time. No, I'm curious now. What kind of little ghost will defeat me in the future? I'll personally embark on a great voyage. Kedo shook his head slightly. Upon hearing Kaido's words, Al was also somewhat surprised. He never expected that Kaido would be so cautious and serious. However, in your capacity, if you travel from the New World to the Great Voyage, it will inevitably attract the attention of the Navy and cause some trouble, Jin continued to advise. Navy. Even if a naval general stands in front of me, it would be easy for me to kill a little ghost who has not yet grown up on a great route. Okay, since you want to go, then go. I will protect the country of peace and prevent the Navy from invading. Jin also didn't force Kaido to stay, but nodded in agreement. Cluck cluck. I'm really excited. I really want to see that little ghost who can defeat me in the future soon. Kedo picked up his wolf tooth stick and put it on his shoulder, feeling quite excited. Kaido is planning to leave. But suddenly he stopped and turned his head to look at Al, asking. By the way, what's your name, little devil? Al. Is Al right? Let's go on a great voyage together now. Ah. Do I also want to go together? Al doesn't have any strength at all now. He didn't understand what the purpose of Kedo taking him with him was. I don't know that little ghost named Luffy, and I'm also not sure where he is on the Great Route, so I need you to guide me. Well. Okay, Al knew he couldn't refuse, so he reluctantly replied. Before that, Jin, take him to the treasure trove and give him an animal-type ancient demon fruit, Kado said, glancing at Jin. Although he did not believe Al's words 100%. However, he could tell that Al did have a special talent. And Kaido, however, cherishes his talents the most. So I plan to reward Al with an ancient animal demon fruit as a reward. I understand, Jin nodded and said. Thank you very much, Governor Kedo, Al sincerely thanked him. Now he urgently wants a demon fruit to unlock the system. And for him, the demonic fruit bestowed upon him by Kaido is just right. It has to be said that the identity of a traveler is very useful. With just a few words, Kaido rewarded him with a precious animal-type ancient demon fruit. Let's go, Al. Jin glanced at Al and reminded him. Then the two of them went to the treasure trove of the beast pirates. The location of this treasure trove is extremely concealed. The entire beast pirate squad, apart from Kaido himself, may only be known by Jin. Even the other 2 big billboards of the beast pirates, Quinn and Jack, do not know about this treasure trove. In Kaido's view, the most trusted person is only Jin. As for Jack and Quinn, although they are loyal, Kedo is still not very confident. Nowadays, not only the 2 of them know about this treasure trove, but Al also knows about it. The reason why Jin personally brought Al to this treasure trove is not that he trusts him 100%. But because this treasure trove is made of special materials. It can only be opened with the help of a key, and the key only has Jin and Kaido. So, besides the key, it's very difficult to break through this door. At the same time, this treasure trove is extremely close to Ghost Island. If someone wants to forcibly open it, Kaido will naturally notice. That's why Jin dared to bring Al to this place with peace of mind. Click 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 click. Jin took out the key and opened the characteristic stone door in front of her, hearing a loud roar. Accompanied by roaring sounds, the heavy stone door opened. What appeared before Al was a huge treasure trove of gold, silver, and jewelry. Internally, there are not only countless treasures, but also numerous artificial demon fruits. Of course, there are also pure demonic fruits. Jin took Al and entered the treasure trove, reaching the central position. In front of them, there was a huge stone table with several treasure chests placed on it. What type of ancient seed do you want to eat? Jin glanced at Al behind him and asked. Anyone is fine. Anyway, it's for awakening the system that we need the devil's fruit. So for him, any demon fruit is the same. P.S. Seeking flowers, evaluation tickets. Chapter 6. The man riding on Kedo's head. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's it, this fruit is called the fox fruit, in the ancient form of a demon fox. This fruit can give you great flexibility and also has strong resilience. Jin carefully selected a demon fruit for Al. In his opinion, what Al needs is not the type of strength. So, I chose a more agile type for him. Anyway, their beast pirate squad doesn't really care about Al's strength. Because only the intelligence Al can provide about the future can be of great help to them. So, consuming a demon fruit that leans towards agility will enhance its life-saving ability. Sure. Al nodded and said. As the words fell, Jin handed Al the fox fruit from the treasure chest. Al received the devil's fruit and did not take it directly, but held it in his hand. What? Aren't you planning to take it now? Jin looked at Al with some confusion and said. Well, I have a special habit of keeping good things for lunch, Al casually said with an excuse. He took the devil's fruit, not for eating. But it is used to awaken the system. He can't sacrifice the fruit to the system in front of the ashes. Otherwise, it's difficult to explain. Whatever you want. Jin didn't say much. After obtaining the devil's fruit, Al and Jin returned to Ghost Island. I can only see Kaido at this moment. We have entered a state of dragon transformation, with an incredibly large body that can be described as covering the sky and sun. Come on up, Al. Kaiduo glanced at Al and reminded him. Is this asking me to sit on you and embark on the great voyage? Al asked. Otherwise, do you want me to grab you? Kedo asked in reverse. If it weren't for the concern that Al's current strength is very weak. If caught in your hand, you may die on the way. Otherwise, how could Kaido allow Al to ride on his head? I don't want to. Al shook his head slightly and then climbed onto Kedo's head. To be honest, he never expected that one day he would be able to ride on Kaiduo's head. Jin, protect the country of peace. Lingling, that bastard, may attack our territory while I'm away. Don't let that crazy woman succeed. There is a subtle balance between the four emperors on weekdays. But this does not mean that the relationship between their four forces is harmonious. Once one power encounters a problem, so the other three forces will not hesitate to attack and annex territory. And this time, Kaido set off for the Great Voyage, although it was only a few days away. However, he always felt that Charlotte Lingling would take advantage of his departure and launch a surprise attack on his territory. As for the red hair and white beard, he didn't think that these people would attack his territory before he died. So what needs to be guarded against now is the pirate group under Charlotte Lingling's banner. I will, Jin promised. Subsequently, Kaiduo took Al and set off to prepare for the Great Voyage. As the two of them left the country of peace and flew high into the air overseas, they were discovered by the surveillance ships of the Navy headquarters. On the naval battleship, many navies instantly became panicked. Emergency situation. Emergency situation. The 4 emperors and 100 beasts, Kaido, have left the land of harmony. Damn it, what does this guy want to do when he leaves the land of harmony? Wait a moment, look, there's still a man standing on top of Baisho Kaido's head. A naval soldier holding a telescope and observing the situation at high altitude suddenly exclaimed in surprise. Upon hearing his reminder, other navies quickly picked up telescopes and observed the situation at high altitude. Hey, you're joking. What is that man's identity? He can ride on the head of the beast Kaido. This guy is a stranger with a face that seems to have never been listed on a bounty, but he can actually step on the head of the beast Kaiduo. Who the hell is this guy? Is it difficult to become a certain big shot from the old era? No, it's impossible. Even the big shots of the old era cannot surpass the current Kaido. And that guy looks exceptionally young, so he shouldn't be a big shot from the old days. Seeing Al on Kaido's head, many navies were discussing and expressing curiosity about his identity. Similarly, they are all shaking Al's behavior of standing over Kedo. You know, who is Kaido? He is the 4th emperor of the New World, possessing extremely strong strength and status throughout the entire New World. It can be said that he is the Sea Emperor of the New World. And Al, this unfamiliar face they had never seen before, could stand on Kedo's head. The 4 emperors and beasts of the New World, Kaido, left the land of peace with a strange man. We don't know where he will go. We must report this news to the Navy headquarters as soon as possible. Quickly, take a picture of the appearance of Al on the head of the beast, Kaiduo, and send it to the Navy headquarters. Several officers on the naval battleship analyzed the current intelligence and then ordered. Upon hearing his words, many navies immediately became busy, searching for communication worms and preparing to call the Navy headquarters. Holding the camera and phone worm, he started shooting from a distance and captured Al standing on top of Kedo's head. Damn it, the New World has finally managed to maintain a brief period of peace. Should we break it now? The 4 emperors of the New World usually stay in their own territory and rarely leave. Nowadays, Kaido has not only left his own territory and country. And he also brought a stranger man whom they had never masked before. This always gives them a bad feeling. Not good, look at it. Kaido is charging towards us. A naval soldier, holding a telescope, exclaimed in surprise. Upon hearing his reminder, many navies looked up into the air. I saw Kaido's massive body, covering the sunlight above them, appearing in their sight. Dragon breath. Kaido opened his bloodthirsty mouth, and a scorching flame gathered in his mouth, causing the surrounding air to seem twisted by the scorching heat. Damn Kedo, he wants to destroy our warship. Hurry up. Dodge quickly, jump into the sea, protect the photos you've taken, and deal with communication phone worms. There are also communication phone worms. A naval lieutenant shouted loudly. He was well aware that under Kaido's one move, the entire naval battleship would be destroyed in an instant. So, now they must protect these 3 things well. Communication phone worm, used to communicate with the Navy headquarters. And the messenger phone worm. It is possible to transmit photos from a long distance to the Navy headquarters, and then print them directly through a telephone worm. Puff. Kaiduo, who was in mid-air, gathered his dragon breath and spat it out in one gulp. The extremely hot flames rushed out, directly enveloping the entire naval battleship. The seawater evaporates instantly, emitting hot steam. Naval warships were destroyed into a pile of ruins, and all the navies on board were killed. After finishing all of this, Kedo continued to leave with Al. P.S. Seeking flowers, evaluation tickets. Chapter 7. Activation System, 10 Tails and Immortal Body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not long after Al and Kedo left. Under the destroyed naval battleships, many navies appeared one after another. Although Kaiduo's one move, the heat breath, killed countless soldiers on the ship. But there were also strong individuals who jumped into the sea ahead of time and dodged a fatal blow. The admiral who emerged from the water did not immediately pay attention to the casualties, but shouted loudly. Has the communication phone worm, the transmission phone worm, and the photos taken been destroyed? General Most, the photos taken, along with the communication phone worms and the transmission phone worms, I have protected them well and have not been destroyed by that bastard Kaido. I saw a rear admiral with burns all over his body, who couldn't even see a human figure, emerge from the water. Protects the communication phone worm in his arms, the transmission phone worm, and follows the photos taken. Now, immediately call the Navy headquarters and report the news here to Marshal Warring States. Yes. The surviving rear admiral, without any hesitation, quickly dialed the phone worm of the Navy headquarters. I sent the situation here, as well as AL's photos, to the Warring States period. At the same time, Kaido and Al have flown into the distance. New World, over a certain sea area. Al, standing on Kaido's head, was completely unaware that the Navy had already set their sights on him. At this moment, he slowly pulled out the fruit of the ancient fox breed of the animal series given by the previous ashes. Glancing at Kaido underneath, it was confirmed that Kaido currently cannot see the situation above his head. However, for safety reasons, I still pretended to put the devil's fruit by my mouth. At the same time, the sound of the system entered his mind. Ding, it has been detected that the host has animal-type demon fruits in their hands. Should they be used for the awakening system? Okay. Al responded without any hesitation. Ding, congratulations to the host. Consume an animal-type demon fruit and successfully activate the system. System prompt. This system is called the God-level reputation system. As long as the host's reputation increases, they can earn reputation points. After reaching enough reputation points, the host can participate in the 10,000 Realms lottery. 1Jia lottery allows you to draw abilities, items, or other items from 1Jia. Is it a reputation system? Al muttered. Since the system is a reputation system, it seems that he needs to improve his strength as soon as possible. Let your name spread throughout the world. Ding, congratulations to the host. Your system has been activated for the first time and you have 1x1 lottery draws in the world. Does the host want to use this lottery? Oh. Can I get it for free once? Upon hearing this, Al exclaimed excitedly. Now he is naturally eager to become stronger and enhance his strength. Now, the system has directly given him one lottery draw in the world, how can he not be excited? Although it is unclear what specific abilities will be drawn from the 1Jia lottery. However, he believed that it was definitely not an easy thing. Extract. Almost without any hesitation, Al replied. Ding, congratulations to the host. Spend one draw from the 10,000 realms. Ding, congratulations to the host for inheriting the 10 tails and immortal body from Naruto World. You didn't disappoint me as expected. Upon hearing the sound of the system, Al's face was filled with excitement. You should know that 10 tails is the strongest tailed beast in the world of Naruto. No one. 10 tails possess extremely terrifying power, even capable of destroying the heavens and earth. 10 tails in Naruto World, known as a symbol of disaster. And the immortal human body is not simply a physical constitution. The immortal human body possesses extremely strong vitality and enormous chakra energy. I directly obtained these two terrifying abilities by using the 1Jia lottery for the first time. It can be imagined that in the future, Al will reach a higher level by winning more rounds of the 10,000 Realms lottery. As Al sighed, a special energy entered his body. This energy seemed to put him in a fairyland, with an indescribable sense of comfort all over his body. After a moment, Al passed on to the immortal human body and the 10 tails. At the same time, the system's attribute panel is also popping up at this moment. Host. Al reputation. 0/1000, note. Collecting enough reputation values can lead to a 10,000 world lottery. Constitution. Mid-stage of immortal body, 0/5000, 10 tails. Not fully unlocked yet, you need to gather the power of 1 to 9 tails first to obtain the qualification to unlock 10 tails, 9-tailed. Tail Beast Jade, unlocked, Half-tailed Beast Transformation, unlocked, 9-tailed mode, unlocked, note requires 3 animal-type demon fruits, Full-tailed Beast Transformation mode, unlocked, note. 9-tailed mode needs to be unlocked first, 1 to 8 tails, unlocked, note. Currently unlocking 1 tail requires 1 demon fruit, oh. Didn't you unlock the 10 tails directly? Al rested his chin and carefully scanned the attribute panel in front of him. The 10 tails of inheritance have indeed been passed down. However, to fully unlock the 10 tails, you must first unlock all the power from the 1 to 9 tails. To unlock the tailed beast, it is essential to have the devil fruit. Al was not too surprised by this. Since this is a growth-oriented system, let's grow slowly. Anyway, he has plenty of time to grow. Moreover, although it is not possible to directly use the power of 10 tails, but he can use the power of the 9 tails. Whether it's tailed beast jade or half-tailed beast transformation. Both of these abilities will greatly increase Al's strength. At the same time, although the immortal human body is in the middle stage, Al can feel it. Within oneself, there is an exceptionally powerful vitality. He, who inherits the immortal human body, not only has thick blood and high defense, but also his recovery power is probably no less than that of the Phantom Beast series. After scanning the property panel a little, Al closed it. Actually, for him. Now it is necessary to find ways to improve one's reputation and have the opportunity to win the lottery in the world. The first world lottery directly drew 10 tails, following the immortal human body. Now he can't help but start looking forward to what he will draw in the next world lottery. P.S. Seeking Flowers, Evaluation Tickets. Chapter 8. Al Bounty Gold 150 million berries. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Meanwhile, on the other side. The headquarters of the Navy has numerous Marines. The room located on the top floor of the Marin complex. It was the Marshal of the Navy headquarters, the office of the Warring States period. Beep. During the Warring States period, he hung up the phone worm in his hand and then glanced at the photo of Kaido and Al in his hand, with a serious expression and his hands resting on his cheeks. Kaiduo, for some unknown reason, left the land of harmony, and not only that, he also found a strange man standing on his head. As the words fell, the Warring States period signaled to the adjutant beside him and handed the newly printed photo on the table to several people in the office. Oh! What a terrible man! Did he ride on Kedo's head? The yellow ape looked at Al in the photo with a slight surprise. After seeing the photo, Cap sneered while eating shinbei. Ha ha ha. Warring States period, I think you're too nervous, isn't it just a little ghost we've never seen before, riding on Kaido's head? No, Cap, there are many doubts about this matter. Kaido is a naturally arrogant, and ambitious guy. Do you think such a presence would allow a small character to ride on his head as his means of transportation? Crane said solemnly after seeing the photo, showing a look similar to that of the Warring States period. The 4 emperors of the New World, without exception, all have a great sense of pride. Who would allow others to ride on their heads? Not to mention, he is an unknown guy. Are you saying that this guy's identity is extraordinary? Cap pursued. Yes, the Crane nodded and said. This guy, obviously none of us have seen him before, it can't be some big pirate, at most it could be a presence with close ties to Kaido, Cap said casually. Cap started working in the Navy from the distant era of the rocks. So, even if he never fought against the famous pirate of the old era. But I have seen almost everything, and in his impression, there is no face like Al. So he guessed that it was an existence with a close relationship with Kaido. Of course, Cap and his team didn't know that Kedo had a son, didn't they? More precisely, it belongs to my daughter. The land of harmony is the territory of Kaido, so the Navy dare not rashly inquire about information with the land of harmony. If the Navy knew that Kaido had a son, they might have guessed that Al was Kaido's son. It's really a headache. During this period, the New World finally calmed down, but Kaido chose to leave his territory with a stranger in his car. The Warring States period was quite headache-ridden as he stroked his forehead. There are two difficult things facing them now. The first thing is, what is the purpose of Kaido leaving his territory and going out to sea? Secondly, who is the stranger man riding on Kedo's head? Well, if you want to know the answer to the matter, you might have to find Kaido to personally inquire. Based solely on our guesses here, we probably won't be able to guess any results. Cap gulped down on Shinbei, muttering while reminding. You're right, nodded the Warring States period. Although Cap was eating scallops in his office, it made him very unhappy. However, he also felt that what Cap said made sense. As for the guy riding on Kaido's head, just consider him a special existence and don't worry too much. After all, no matter how special he is not as threatening as Kaido. Our main task now is to investigate what Kaido specifically needs to do when he leaves the country of peace, Cap continued. Cap is not as nervous as others, guessing Al's identity. In his opinion, Al may just be due to his special relationship with Kedo. Just treat him as an ordinary person, there's no need to pay too much attention. What needs to be paid attention to at the moment is Kedo's whereabouts. What should a fourth emperor do when he leaves his territory? This is what they should pay attention to. After a moment of contemplation in the Warring States period, he spoke up and said, give this guy a bounty order, maybe we'll know the answer. So how will the specific amount be determined? Asked the Yellow Ape curiously. 150 million Bailey, after all, this guy doesn't look like an ordinary person either. Ha ha ha. Warring States period, a strange little ghost, was you directly assigned 150 million Bailey? Kapu laughed at him upon hearing this. 150 million Belial pirates, not to mention on the Great Voyage. Even in the New World, he can be considered a captain of a pirate group. Cap couldn't understand. Al is just riding on Kedo's head, as for all this bounty money. Shut up, Cap, and don't eat scallops in my office in the future. Warring States scolded. Well, since it's your decision, I naturally don't have much to say. Cap spread his hand and ate the scallops as he walked outside. A few days later, the Great Voyage. Ding, congratulations to the host, reputation has increased +5. Ding, congratulations to the host. Reputation has increased by +10. Ding, congratulations to the host, reputation has increased +11. I don't know what's going on. Not long after Al followed Kaido to sea, the system occasionally received news of an increase in reputation. Al glanced at the attribute panel and saw that his reputation had already reached around 800. Although he was puzzled, why did his reputation suddenly increase? However, he didn't pay too much attention to the reason. In short, the promotion was a good thing for him. Now, he is only 200 points short of his reputation value and can win a lottery in the 10,000 realms. This made him start to look forward to it. Not long after, Kaido took Al and flew over the great route of Alabastion. Alabastion is the territory of the 7 Martial Sea Clockdale under the king. Due to Clockdale, it has been reported that there is hidden information about the Hades worship in this country. So, he has been secretly trying his best to control this country. Then search for the whereabouts of the Underworld King. However, he was later defeated by Lufei, who was cheating. When it comes to Crocodile, it can be said that he was also a famous pirate in the era after Roger. In terms of opportunities, there are countless opportunities to kill Luffy. But unfortunately, because the protagonist of Luffy had a strong aura, he wouldn't die no matter what, and in the end, he was successfully killed. Clockdale, he completely suffered from his early appearance, but in fact, his strength is not weak. P.S. Seeking Flowers, Evaluation Tickets. Chapter 9. Kado. Call Clockdale to me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is the little ghost named Luffy really in this place? Kedo glanced at the densely packed buildings below him and asked. If calculated according to the timeline, it should be. Possibly here, Al replied, holding his chin and pondering for a moment. In his past life, Al did indeed stand from the perspective of God and have seen the Pirate King. However, due to Luffy's departure from the East China Sea, the time to reach the Great Route was not very long. So, now Al cannot be 100% certain whether Luffy is on the Great Route. However, in Al's view, going directly to the Great Route was the right choice. Because Luffy will come to this place sooner or later and defeat Clockdale. Even now, there is no way to find Luffy in Alabastion. So just wait for a while. And if they go to the East China Sea at the first time and find that they don't, then they still have to go to the Great Route. You're not playing with me, are you? After hearing Elnalingma's ambiguous answer, Kaido felt a little angry. I only foresaw the news that Luffy would come to Alabastion in the future, but I cannot accurately predict when he will arrive, Al said helplessly, spreading his hand. Upon hearing Al's words, Kedo was about to lose his temper. Al continued, for now, let's go find 7 Marshal C. Clockdale first. Once we find him, we can determine whether Luffy is here or not. Not long after Lufei and others in the original work set foot on Alabastion. It has already been noticed by Clockdale, who is known as the 7 Marshal Cs. So, now that they don't know the whereabouts of the flight, they just need to go directly to Clockdale to confirm. Upon hearing this, Kaiduo snorted coldly and didn't say anything more. Subsequently, carrying Al, they began to search for the whereabouts of Clockdale in Alabastion. According to Al's memory of standing from the perspective of God, he quickly found the territory where Clockdale was located. Bang! Kaido descended from the sky and landed directly on the ground. The ground was directly shaken out into a huge deep pit, igniting a sky full of smoke and dust. Upon hearing the commotion outside, the pirates within the Clockdale territory poured out and came outside to inspect. Are there any intruders? What situation? Which bastard dares to break into our territory? Brothers, prepare for battle and destroy this damn intruder. Even the president's territory dares to invade. These fools, don't they know that our president is the King's 7 Marshal C's Clockdale? Many members of the Baroque working society stared at the towering yellow sand flying in front of them and cursed. But as the smoke dissipated, this group of people immediately pouted. As if seeing a monster that made their souls tremble. Hey, you're joking. This guy, can he be the 4th emperor of the New World, the beast Kaiduo? Go ahead, what a joke. How could the 4 emperors of the New World be here? The 4 emperors of the New World. Not only did they reign like emperors in the New World, but their names had already spread throughout the world. This group of pirates, although it is their first time seeing Kaido with their own eyes, have actually seen countless news articles about Kaido in the newspapers. They couldn't imagine how a monster like Kaido would arrive in the first half of the small great voyage. Wait, look, there's another man standing on top of Kedo's head. A pirate suddenly pointed at Al standing on Kedo's head and exclaimed in surprise. So, who the hell is that guy? He can stand on Kedo's head. This guy seems a bit familiar. I remember a few days ago, the Navy headquarters issued a new bounty order, and his bounty seems to be 150 million belly. 150 million baileys. This is even higher than our president. Although Clockdale is the 7 armed Cs. But now his bounty is only 81 million belly. Because after becoming the 7 armed seas, he served for the navy and the world government. So, their bounty will not increase again. Kaiduo glanced at Al, who was still standing on his head, and said angrily, "Hey Al, aren't you still coming off my head, you little ghost?" Previously entering dragon form, it's okay to let Al step on his head. Now that he has entered human form, why is Al still stepping on his head? Sorry, I forgot. Upon hearing this, Al jumped off Kedo's head. Kedo didn't pay any further attention to Al, but instead placed his gaze on the pirate in front of him and ordered. Call out that little devil from Clockdale. Although these people don't know what Kaido and Al are doing to find Clockdale, they still speak truthfully. Our president is currently not in this place. What are you saying? Upon hearing this, Kaiduo clenched his fists and exuded an extremely terrifying aura all over his body, enveloping numerous pirates and questioning. Feeling the extreme sense of oppression, the many pirates present felt as if there was a big mountain pressing down on their hearts, making them gasp for breath, but they continued. Our president is really not here. A bunch of useless guys. Schwa. Upon hearing this, Kaiduo took out his wolf tooth stick without hesitation and vigorously swept it. Unparalleled brute force endows the wolf tooth stick with endless destructive power. With a single blow, the pirate in front of me disappeared instantly. Not only that, countless buildings collapsed in an instant, becoming ruins, and smoke and dust rose from the scene. This is the power of the 4 emperors, who exist like emperors throughout the entire New World. In the first half of this small great voyage, let alone. With just one strike, you can directly eliminate countless pirates and destroy a large number of city walls. It can be said that as long as Kaiduo thinks. Perhaps in just a few minutes, the entire Alabastion country can be destroyed in an instant. Clockdale. Kaido roared in anger towards the sky, with a great force, even setting off a gust of wind that howled in all directions. His voice almost spread throughout the entire Alabastion. Not long after Kaido's voice fell, a man wearing black mink skin and biting a cigar appeared not far away, with a gloomy face walking towards him. Behind him are Mr. 1, Mr. 2, and Mr. 3 from the Baroque Work Society. There is also Nicole Robin, known as the Devil. Clockdale said coldly, 4th Emperor, are the beasts Kaiduo. P.S. Requesting readers to give some fresh flowers and evaluation tickets. Chapter 10. Clockdale Raid, Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mr. 1's bonus couldn't help but swallow his saliva, suppressing the fear in his heart, and said in a deep voice, I really didn't expect the 4 emperors of the New World to appear here. Society. President, let's run quickly, otherwise we'll be killed, said Mr. 3 Gallons Dino, tears streaming down his face as he spoke in horror. Is the man standing next to Kaido the man who suddenly appeared with a bounty of 150 million Pele recently? Robin broke out in a cold sweat on his forehead, glanced at Kaido, and then stared at Al. There is no news about Al in this sea. Even the Navy doesn't know Al's name. But directly, Al's bounty was positioned at 150 million Bailey. Intuition told him that Al was not a simple character. Of course, the most important thing is undoubtedly Kaido, who is the 4th Emperor. Is there anything you want to do with me, Kedo? Clockdale took a sip of his cigar and slowly spat it out, his expression cold. Where is the man named Luffy now? Kedo didn't say anything and directly questioned. He traveled thousands of miles from the New World to the Great Voyage. It is a man who can defeat himself just to see the future. Luffy. Who is this guy? Upon hearing Kedo's questioning, Clockdale asked with some confusion. Is it called Minchi D.Lufei? Not long ago, a pirate was offered a reward of 30 million Bailey in the East China Sea. Robin replied, holding his chin and recalling for a moment. Robin has been keeping an eye on all the intelligence and news about this ocean. So, a few days ago, Luffy defeated Long and received a bounty of 30 million Bailey, as well as news and newspapers that she had read. Is it in the East China Sea? Upon hearing these words, Kedo couldn't help but turn his gaze to Al. It seems like questioning. Didn't you say that Luffy is on the Great Route? Why is it in the East China Sea now? Al helplessly spread his hand and said, "Didn't I tell you, Governor Kaido? Luffy will come to the Great Route Alabastion in the future, but I didn't say he's 100% here now. Actually, let's wait here for a while. Before long, Luffy will come to Alabastion." Why can you be so 100% certain that Luffy's first stop on the Great Route is Alabastion? Kedo asked the reason. When Luffy arrives at the Great Route, he will encounter Princess Weiwei, and then he will know that Clockdale's purpose is to seize the country. Then he will come to this place and fly Clockdale. Is that right? Upon hearing this, Kaiduo said with half faith and half doubt. Not far away, Clockdale was also surprised when he heard Al's words. His random gaze lit up with a murderous intent and he said, "Do you, this guy, know my purpose?" At present, only the senior management of Baroque Studios know his purpose. Even the Navy has not yet fully realized his purpose. How on earth did this Al in front of him know his plan? Al didn't pay attention to Clockdale, but instead turned his gaze to Kedo and continued speaking. Either wait here for a while and Luffy will naturally come, or go to the East Sea now. How does Governor Kaido plan to make a decision? If you go to the East China Sea and haven't encountered Luffy yet, you should know the consequences, Al. Kaiduo snorted coldly and reminded. He carried Al so far before flying from the New World to the Great Route. Now let him fly from the Great Route to the East China Sea. This naturally made him a bit uncomfortable. However, he is unwilling to stay in this barren land and it is better to go directly to the East China Sea. Al briefly recalled the memory fragments in his mind and replied. Well, since his bounty is 30 million Bailey, according to the timeline, he should be arriving at Logue Town soon. Just go directly to Logue Town. Then let's go. Kaido didn't want to waste time in this place, so he entered the dragon form and gestured for Al to stand on his head, ready to immediately set off for the East China Sea. And not far away, Mr. One and Robin and others saw that Al and the others were about to leave. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. When it comes to confronting monsters like Kaido, they know they have no chance of winning. At that time, the only consequence waiting for them would be death. And now, it seems that they are not continuing to destroy this place, but are planning to leave. They feel relieved. But the next second, their hearts will hang directly in their throats. I saw Clockdale charging towards Kedo and Al with a murderous intent. Desert Sword. Al, who was about to ride on top of Kaido's head, suddenly noticed something unusual on the ground. The next second, a large sword made of condensed sand shot out from the ground. Although Al didn't notice the dominance of the color, his agile reaction also instantly dodged the blow. At the same time, Clockdale had also appeared in front of him. P.S. Seeking flowers, evaluation tickets.